Trusty Apes return. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to establish like an actual live stream schedule for StreamYards because it's frustrating, you know. Just you never know when people are going to join a StreamYard stream. You're just going to talk side chat, which I have no. I'm fine if there's a side chat, you know, that's cool. But it's just not. You know, I really need to start scheduling more like, you know, actual conversations, but. It's just hard lately because I'm available every night, but you know, I can't stay focused on like any particular topic from time to time. So I just, you know, scroll through a number of fuck apologetics. I didn't even search apologetics, and there it is. Do you mind?
Hey, have you heard the good news about Jesus?
Yeah, but I'm an atheist. Sorry. Take care.
Man, atheists are so arrogant, thinking they know everything. They need to humble themselves and believe that the most important, most powerful, and most intelligent being in all existence created the entire universe just for us, and that he created me with care and attention, and that he loves me and listens to me intently, and that he wants to have a relationship with me and wants to live with me forever and ever throughout all of eternity.
Forever and ever. Love Dark Matter 2525. That was great. Alright, let's check out Jared's video he dropped while we were live earlier. Still shirtless and hatless.
What's going on, guys? It's Jared.
Same thing as earlier. Metal Jesus Rock is dying.
This is here, so... I know it may seem like I'm one to talk with this video because I'm not in the best shape I've been in my life, and I get that, but... The truth of the matter is, bro,
You're not in the best shape. You look a little tubby. I mean, it's hard to tell from here, but I'm just gonna say you might be a little overweight, bro.
Doing better than Big Homie.
Probably. I don't know. I don't know who the fuck that is. Metal Jesus Rocks. Okay, so he's talking about another content creator, evidently. Okay. I don't really care about that. I thought he was gonna do a follow up to the video we watched earlier. Anything there? Nope, he just said atheists are stupid people, avoid them at all costs. So he said he was going to do a part 2 because he ended kind of prematurely, and then evidently this has nothing to do with it, so I don't care. Honestly, not right now anyway. I don't know, we'll see.
Figure. And what happens when you do that is that people, especially journalists or aspiring journalists or people who have no fucking clue, will try to fucking dig.
Actually in the room, it looks like the same chick. He's got the comment up who's in the side chat, but it's hard to tell. Or I mean, in the StreamYard chat, but it's kind of hard to tell. She's got a pretty face though.
Everything out of, you know, what you've accomplished, where you come from, this, that, whatnot. So, you know, it's not a big deal. I ain't got shit to hide. So for me, I'm like, do that shit.
Hold on, Simon. Do you really think they're aspiring journalists? One. And then two, hold on. Second point being, I'm not saying I have anything to hide, but I do have people that are in my life that I believe there should be a code of conduct where those people should not be affected, touched, or dragged.
You can't do anything about that.
Well, what about you? Like, okay, Simon, for instance, like, what if, you know, somebody makes an account of you and your daughter?
And cut it right there. Okay.
The great beyond, the infinite darkness of the universe, with all its secrets unknown to mankind. However,
in October of 2019,
That's something else here. About another hour to kill, so that was a good apologetic shit show. I think I will continue with that. There's just plenty of content to cover for that particular niche, and it's something I love. And God, that was actually really liberating. I was able to just, fucker. I'm not doing that right now. I was able to just kind of cycle freely between the content there, and it was a bunch of fun. I like shit like that, you know. Okay, we'll take that one out. See, we're removing videos from the list. Oh, I was going to do that in a separate stream. I'll do that in a separate stream. I feel like, did I not cover this on stream? Did I just watch it? I mean, I know obviously I've watched some of it. I know I covered this on stream, and this one, take out here. Who cares about that? Let's listen to Jamie Russell for a minute here. This is from a couple weeks ago.
You know, the title of this stream is really...
I was going to say something, but I'll let it go for now.
kind of mean, I guess. But if I didn't, it's technically what I think. And by that I mean, there's varying degrees of different people. I'm not saying everybody's bad. I listen to preachers from different churches. But generally speaking, I have a theory. It seems like when you read reformers in the church, all of a sudden, after it feels like these Adventists exist, all of a sudden nobody knows anymore what is sin exactly. When the entire history of the church had no problem with this. Why are people denying this obvious fact? Well, the law of God defines sin. The Ten Commandments define sin.
Oh, fuck off.
And this until modern times.
Saboteurs. Tell you what. You? Are we done? See, this happens every time now. Frozen? It's not doing shit. Oh, there we go.
It anymore because they can't deal with the Sabbath. It's already turning out to be the dividing line, just like Adventists are saying.
It's like a constant argument between these fuckers. It's like, you know, what day they're supposed to rest, what rest actually means, how long they're supposed to rest. That's just like this should be the simplest thing. If your deity's like, yeah, y'all need to rest, I'll get the, you know, like for how long and what they mean by rest and on what day. It's just all so fucking complicated. You can't even agree on that shit. I mean, really?
I mean, and they all fight with each other about why their reason, their excuse for, well, there's 9 of them. Oh, no, we're not under the law, so we don't keep those. Oh, really? So the Holy Spirit doesn't convict you of sin anymore, like when you're faced with lying or stealing. That's not God's Spirit in you telling you not to do it, inspiring you to love people, so you don't steal when you have an opportunity, so you don't lie, murder, hate. The Sermon on the Mount, is that for us or not, people?
I don't know what that has
What
to
are you
do
even
with the
talking
Sabbath.
about when you say the Ten Commandments are done away with? How dare you? How dare you?
The cannibalism these days. Well, the humanity.
Are you insane? Zig Ziglar says, if God would have...
Zig Ziglar. Hell of a sword. No, the cannibalism, you know, refers to, well, you know, people eating people. That's what it's talking about.
wanted us to live in a permissive society, he would have given us 10 suggestions, not 10 commandments. Here's a president, James Monroe, or James Madison. We have staked the whole future of our new nation not upon the power of government, far from
That
it.
was funny. I like that. I mean, I know it's on a slip of the tongue, but that was good.
We have staked the future of all our political constitutions upon the capacity of each of ourselves to govern ourselves according to the moral principles of the Ten Commandments. Well, he's going to hell, I guess. No man can break any of the Ten Commandments. He can only break himself against them. Gilbert K. Chesterton. Cecil B. DeMille said, the Ten Commandments are the charter and guide of human liberty. There can be no liberty without the law. Man has made 32 million laws since the commandments were handed down to Moses on Sinai more than 3,000 years ago. But he has never improved on God's law. The Ten Commandments are the principles by which man may live with God and man may live with man. They're expressions of the mind of God for his creatures. They are the charter and guide
I
of human liberty.
disagree. We have absolutely improved on God's law. Like, thou shalt not kill or murder, or however you interpret that, right? Like, we have like different degrees of killing, or what constitutes killing. We've definitely improved on that, like as a means of like what we call justice.
For there can be no liberty without the law. Did you know that? Did you know there can be no liberty without the law? Ronald Reagan said, I've wondered at times what the Ten Commandments would have looked like if Moses had run them through U.S. Congress. Laura Schlesinger says the Ten Commandments are not prefaced with, if you're in the mood. When it talks about there's no sin entering heaven, what do you think that's talking about? When God says no sin enters heaven, what do you think that's going to look like? Let me give you a clue.
The
People
Bill
won't be
of
breaking the Ten
Rights, really?
Commandments. That's what it means. Harry Truman said this, a person who is fundamentally honest doesn't need a code of ethics. The Ten Commandments and the Sermon on the Mount are the ethical code anybody needs. Are all the ethical code anybody needs. Randall Terry said, once you depart from the Ten Commandments as being the foundation of right and wrong, you're in free fall. James Madison said, we've staked our future on our ability to follow the Ten Commandments with all our heart. Somebody figured it out. We have 35 million laws trying to enforce the Ten Commandments. The minute a thing is long and complicated, it confuses. Whoever wrote the Ten Commandments made them short. They may not always be kept, but they're understood. John Quincy Adams. The law given from Sinai was a civil and municipal as well as moral and religious code. Martin Luther.
I had like a whole stack of napkins. I can't find it. Shit, I was about to say something too, and I was trying to find a napkin. It's not about the Bill of Rights or whatever. Motherfucker.
Exhort your household to learn the Ten Commandments word for word, that they should obey God. For if you teach and urge your families things, will go forward. Charlie Campbell said, lots of people today never consider themselves guilty of idolatry, as far as they spell out the Ten Commandments, but are reducing God to some benevolent man upstairs, whose only attributes are love and tolerance, and who could not care less about sin. They truly have transgressed God's commandment. They've created a God in their mind who does not actually exist, and will on the day of judgment not be able to offer them any help. If you dispense with the Ten Commandments, you have dispensed with the God that exists. Did you know that? What do you think humans need saving for?
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. But in the Ten Commandments, there are thought crimes, like coveting. Coveting is a thought crime, right? So we should be prosecuting thought crimes. How do we even how do you identify when covetousness has taken place? How would you prosecute that?
From God's bad rules? Or is he saving us from our disobedience? Oh, you thought Eve was guilty of just this random thing, eating fruit? No, she stole from God. She coveted what wasn't hers. She disobeyed her parents. She put her own self in the place of God. It was an idol. She took God's name in vain, didn't she?
Is that what happened?
She brought death into the world. Adam and Eve broke every...
The Bill of Rights, unless your name is Donald J. Trump and you're running against a child molester, atheist pretending to be Catholic. Very good.
Every principle of the Ten Commandments when they ate that fruit. Why?
Just
because
so all your own biases right in that comment, but
cannot tolerate. Love, pure love, never breaks the Ten Commandments. You can't love and break the Ten Commandments. They are eternal. They're in heaven. They're what defines why man needs a savior. And if you dispense with them and teach that, you work for Satan himself. God bless.
I appreciate Jamie for like concise content like that. Say what you mean, do it in a timely fashion. I respect that.
The skeptics ask why God needed to create a world where the only way to atone for sins is death, and then God himself would pay that ultimate price. But they are looking for an answer that does not involve love, something like a syllogism or an equation. They're not thinking of it in terms of how lovers act, but how computers act.
Nope, it's because we're thinking of what coherent loving behavior looks like. Like if I were to secretly fly to Antarctica and give a can of Spam to a penguin to show my love for my wife, people would have questions, right? And that's not because they're thinking in terms of how computers act instead of how lovers act. It's because they know how lovers act, and what I was doing was not that. Because again, behavior can be rationally understood as loving or unloving. And the fact of the matter is, creating a place called hell and throwing people into it does not look like loving behavior.
No, yeah, and especially if you could have prevented any person from ever going to hell. Like, you could create a scenario in which you create hell, and then you threaten people with it, but because you predetermined all outcomes, no person would ever end up in hell, right?
A rule that you need to be sacrificed to yourself
it would
before
be
any
self-defeating. There'd be no reason to create hell and then threaten people with it if they were never going to go there. But the point is then, why not just predetermine that nobody ever has to go to hell and not create hell in the first place? Why not just do that?
them can be safe from you throwing them into hell also doesn't look like loving behavior.
Because
that's the entire...
Obviously, games only work, right, if there is an adversarial like thing going on here, right? That's the only way in which game theory works. Like, in order to have, you have to have a winner and a loser.
Crux of the problem. And people aren't looking for an answer that doesn't involve love when they point that out. They're appealing to an intelligible understanding of what love is. So if you want them to think that the gospel show love, you need to explain how. Just insinuating that love defies rationality and then not explaining anything doesn't get you anywhere.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that local recordings are now available on StreamYard. Have you ever done a recording where your guest just had terrible internet issues? They were blurry, they were freezing, you could almost hardly hear them. Well, with local recordings from StreamYard...
Just insinuating that love defies rationality.
Okay, so we came in like the mid videos, so I'm just kind of picking up because I did cover this portion of this earlier, not tonight, but much earlier. But I want to finish this. So this is a response, obviously, to inspiring philosophy. Jesus sacrificing himself makes no sense. They're talking about how, God sends Jesus, who is him, but is also his son, to sacrifice himself to atone for the sins of humans, which never had to, people never had to be sinful, right? God could have just created man to not sin, but instead he wanted, people to have the choice to sin so that they might go to hell, even though it's like really, really awful, and he would totally advise against it. Like, why even have the option there? I guess, he just wanted to see how many people he'd create who would choose to suffer rather than, blindly accept his existence without any type of evidence.
And then not explaining anything doesn't get you anywhere.
God loves you, and that can only spill over into great acts of affection, ways to express one's love beyond mere words. And this can only culminate in the cross itself, where he gave his life for you, to rest.
I like it when you kiss me, I can tell you miss me, I can tell it hits.
To you from a life of sin, shame, and guilt, and to transform you into a child of God that is drenched in glory. If God is the very essence of love, then he loves us more than we could ever imagine. And if humanity is fallen and lost to the point that we have become his very enemies, how is God supposed to show his love for us in a way that would get us to turn from our wicked ways? If he desires to save those who hate him...
Why would there even be wicked ways? Like, there would just be no... Like, people would never have any compulsion to do anything wicked, because God could just instill them with righteousness so that they would never act wickedly, right? They would never have these desires to be ungodly or whatever, right? Which Why? Why? Because God's ways are higher than ours. He's just... But no. Like, if we can imagine a world where suffering need not exist, why couldn't God do that? Right? That seems like a lower level of thinking where it's like, well, I've got a lot of great ideas, but all of them include suffering. They all have to have suffering. It's just, we need to have suffering in order to... No, it's not logical. And
me.
All-knowing, all-seeing, all, present everywhere, all the time, dude, can't possibly find a way in which the universe could exist without people suffering forever.
How could he possibly shuck us into the...
Do you know how stupid that sounds? Like, biggest brain ever, brain designs all things, brain can't think of a way for life to happen without eternal torment and damnation.
reality of his love.
Wow,
I don't know, maybe regularly manifest as part of our daily reality and then show us how he feels through ongoing loving behavior? That would work. And it would help if the act of love made sense to us.
This isn't even the topic of the video. Not that there is a topic of the video, except that I've heard that people do taste a lot like bacon.
You know, the buy your wife a thoughtful gift kind of love and not the fly to Antarctica and give a penguin a can of Spam kind of love. Also, all this stuff about us drifting so far away from God that we become his enemies.
Wait, is he saying he's in love with a penguin? I feel like that's what he's... A penguin who eats Spam.
Of our wicked ways just kind of
taste a lot like humans also.
compounds the problem. It makes God look like a bad leader who dramatizes bad deeds and then lets them get passed on to people's children. You know, the more inspiring philosophy tries to add to this, the more layers he peels up and the more he reveals about how just wrong this whole thing is.
The only way is he would have to go to the bitter extreme of pain and suffering. We would have to see explicitly what our sin does to him.
No, see, here's the problem. The death of Jesus isn't what our behavior...
You see that post? It looked like it was in like a modern day park or something like that, right? Like the way it was fabricated.
does to him. It's what he does to himself because of behavior he classifies as sin. This is the whole problem of the thing. He created all the obstacles in the situation. Now, I'm sure inspiring philosophy might retort that no, we didn't actually do it to him, we didn't put him on the cross, but still it reflects what our sins did to him. After all, this isn't my first nitpicking rodeo. But that would still mean that his own self-inflicted harm reflects the pain we caused him, and that makes no sense. An all-powerful God should be able to absorb, understand, and instruct us on our misdeeds with an infinite sense of perspective and really without being, hurt by it at all. The very idea that we could traumatize him at all is just weird.
And how far he is willing to go, and how much he is willing to take, just so we know that he loves us.
That is really strange, huh? Because he knows all the outcomes, right? He created the whole scenario, right? He engineered, designed the whole thing, yet the merest, like the most petty human mistakes make him angry all the time. He's so fucking angry.
Humanity, lost in its sin, cannot be awakened by mere words.
So if we were to switch this to active voice, he's saying that a perfect, all-knowing God couldn't awaken us just using his words. Okay, I guess just add that to the list of things that an all-powerful God can't do as soon as Christians need to explain something.
Only
Feast mode activated. Get 50% off your next order. Step 1, go to DoorDash.com or use the app. Step 2,
do as soon as Christians need to explain something.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
shocking acts of love that shake us at our very core, that show us the gravity of our sin and the
Meatloaf is God.
depth of his love, that can only be found at the cross, the day the creator of the universe allowed himself to be humiliated, tormented, and die to save you, atone for you, and awaken you.
You see there's like a metal ring on the top of that post that's prefab. There's no way that's like, historically accurate.
We expect him to create a world where he demonstrates this love in the most extreme way possible. If God is love, we should expect his love for us to manifest in an act worthy to demonstrate that infinite love he has for us.
So here it is. We finally arrived at a logical explanation, such as it is. The reason God decided he could only forgive our behavior by gruesomely sacrificing himself is that he needed to show us his love in the most dramatic way possible. And I guess that was it. Okay.
But is this any suicide and then coming back from the dead, but never really being dead because he's an eternally... he can't die anyway, right? So.
Kind of sensible, loving behavior? I would contend absolutely not. It would be like if I thought my kids didn't understand my love for them. Like, maybe they misbehave sometimes and were a little disconnected from me. I don't know, maybe they seem opposed to me and I took that to mean that they were my enemies and had become wicked. You know, the way intelligent parents look at their kids' behavior. So I decide I really need a more dramatic way to show my love. So I withdraw my money from the bank, I max out my credit cards and take cash advances, anything I can to gather as much cash as possible, and I set it out on the lawn and light it on fire. And then I get 2 extra jobs to make up for the shortfall, and now my kids can see that I love them so much I'm willing to work myself to the bone for them. Now that's really showing love, right? Well, no, because my actions were never meant to help them. They were designed to coax feelings of love out of them. I was trying to get something from them, and I was willing to put them at risk of poverty to do it. Now I know my specific example is silly.
And really, you're using, like, as the deity does, you're using guilt and shame, right? Instead of, like, but again, it doesn't matter because the belief in the deity is all only relevant as to what people think the deity can do for them. What can God do for me?
And by design, but people do stuff like this. People are willing to self-sabotage or dramatize harm to themselves in order to elicit a loving response out of others, and it's just manipulative and abusive. Is this what inspiring philosophy wants to depict God as doing? Now, I guess some people could argue that God getting us to understand his love so we could see the error of our ways and change actually would help us. But there are a couple problems with this. For one thing, it seems really obvious that a perfect, all-knowing God could get his point across without having to resort to weird forms of self-harm, right?
One would think. Have been removed. Let me see here. Trouble going this far back. Yep. Nope, he took it down. So I was looking for the Grace Thorpe video, and evidently they took it down. It should be right in there. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, that was one off. My bad.
I did.
Base boost, Barbie girl, let's go. Go away.
So Ben's back out. I was talking about this earlier. I was watching a couple of videos yesterday. Ben returning to the debate scene, and he was publicly complaining about how he couldn't talk to Grace because the court order, because he had violated a previous temporary restraining order. So now he has like a permanent court order because he couldn't, contain himself, between the, obviously the date he was, originally charged and the actual court date, right? And so because the two of them met up in violation of a temporary order, now there is a permanent order in place, which he just continues to bitch about because he doesn't understand the legal system, or he doesn't care, or he doesn't think it applies to him, or whatever. That's fine and, good. We could, debate about, domestic violence statutes all day. But the point is, Ben's back out there. Grace has been on the quiet. But, as I said before, I find Grace much more interesting than Ben, to be quite honest. Like, the whole dynamic's just fucking weird. But as far as entertainment value, just roll with it.
Stop playing with him, Riot. And I'm like the Barbie. I'm a dog, but I still wanna party. Big feel like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a can. Right. All the Barbies pretty. The Barbies bad. It girls. And we get clean tags. Rad, but he speak me when I get bad. LA right there drive. I'm in New York, Madison Ave. I'm a Barbie girl. Pink Barbie dream house. The way Ken be killing shit. I mean yelling out like the screen house. We yelling out, we ain't selling out. We got money, but we ain't selling out. We got money, but we ain't selling out. We got
What's up, Mikey Silverwolf? Good to see you. She's freak dancing. I like the way she dropped the shades too. She's got the whole Tom Cruise thing going on.
bitch, if you still in doubt. And I'm like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party.
Choreograph that shit.
Ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a
Reminds me of like every 13-year-old girl I ever hung out with when I was, you know, in that age range or whatever. Which is weird because it was like, this is a grown ass human, right? She could be like living independently and paying her own bills, but instead she's sniffing her dad's laundry and dancing like this on. Okay. Too bad Jill. Oh, too bad Jill can't be sued for his ridiculous statements. Well, yeah, you could try. I mean, you can sue anyone for anything. It doesn't mean that you'll win, but you could try. I don't know. There might be a. Good to see you, by the way, Sandy. There might be a precedent for having his YouTube channel taken down. I don't know. I don't know if he's violated the TOS explicitly or not. He said he was going to report me for supporting Joe Biden. I didn't even support Joe Biden, so I don't know. Maybe he's just bullshitting me.
I'm watching these bits, I'm ready to bang. Bobby just wanna pretend. Like, hold on, let's go find me a pen. Look where it led. But it's okay. Bobby, bitch, girl, Bobby, click on the both of it. And I see the bread, I want all of it. And I want the grace, so I all of it. And I double it back to be losing it. And I keep the box with no shoes in it. Yeah, I know the trick, so I
Is she swinging a feather duster? Yep, she's swinging a duster.
Yeah, Bobby, bitch. And I got like a Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Big girl, like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a can. Like, all of the bodies is pretty. All of the bodies is bad. It girls, if anything cleans
It was from like right at the beginning of this. That's where that thumbnail was taken from. I thought it was hilarious. She's got the shades drawn and the Trump shirt. So this is an older video from when Grace was doing the laundry while Ben was still in jail. Ben is now out of jail. Grace is radio silent. And basically, like, all he could do is just bitch about how unfair the legal system is, which is great because obviously you can't argue his way out of a paper bag in court. So, you know, all he can do is complain about it on YouTube, which is fine. I mean, I've been there, you know, being like, you know, somebody who didn't commit domestic violence against his, you know, child, which I use the term child, but she's not a child. She's a fucking adult, right? So... but it's still, you know, extremely hard. Even if an accusation is made against you, it's hard to argue your way out of it in court. But it's even harder when you do stupid shit like violate a temporary order because you have no self-control and then land yourself in jail and now have an even more stringent order that you have to abide by, right? But I think the last thing you really want to do is go around on YouTube complaining about how unfair the justice system is, because that's not going to help your case at all.
No, I'm really done with this dancing shit for real. I'm out of breath. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, quit smoking, girly.
Jungle beats. Jungle beats.
I mean, she was dancing pretty vigorously, but I mean, I've done like full-on live performances as a chain smoker and not been that out of breath. You know, like actually singing and playing an instrument.
All right, guys, seriously. Okay, I don't know where to go next. I'll just take a break for a sec. I need some water.
She might be on cocaine. I mean, I'm not saying she is, I'm just saying she might be.
Latina housewife in her element. Hey!
What's up,
Cállate la boca, maricón.
Yeah, no, I'm just enjoying the rest of my morning. That's all it is. This is the laundry stream. So watching Grace, you know, fuck around here for a bit. I might have something else to check out before I get out of here. Thanks for coming. It's been a fun night, or morning, or whatever time of day it is.
Okay, papi. I know 2 Spanish phrases, and those are both of them.
She knows how to say yes, daddy, please.
Do you guys see the sweat? Look, do you see the sweat?
Why are you showing? No, don't. Oh my god. That's... Ugh.
Do you see the sweat glands?
Cringe-tastic. No, we cannot see your sweat glands. They are underneath the dermis. Thank God. Thank your non-existent imaginary gods.
Can you see it? Oh, yeah. It's hard work being a baddie. Do they fake another one of Daddy's outrages? No, he's in prison right now. He's in the ACI, Intake Service Center. He's gonna be in there until at least the 25th if they don't set bail. So I am raising money for a lawyer. If you'd like to donate, I will actually genuinely use it for a lawyer. If you don't want to see more of this content, hit the Cash App.
Or bail Ben out of jail, right? That's your alternative. Rain all day today, might as well stream. Yeah, good idea. I've actually got a normal ass work day after this, so I'm gonna make it out of here. And then I slept like a fucking log yesterday. Like, it was crazy. I could barely wake up. So, but this is my last OT shift for the week. So, but it's like, it's clear skies. It's actually been warm all night, and the wind has been low. So I've been chilling out here. Hey, what's up, Halsey? Good to see you. Yeah, I was checking out your latest music video at the end of my last stream. It was that was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was different. I was telling William that I've always wanted to do a heavy metal version of that song, but I like that you made it kind of like soft and ambient. That was cool. So yeah, everybody go check out Halsey's latest music video if you haven't seen that yet. It's great work. So yeah. Yeah, I've been, I'm in a pretty solid place, I guess. Like, that place is kind of like, it's solidly fixed in, like, disdain and disappointment. But, what are you gonna do? Like, when life gives you lemon, you make lemonade, I guess. See, I don't want to be more crass about it. I'm just going to say that, everything is status quo, and that means that, it'll be fine. It's all going to be A-okay. Because that's what people want to hear, and that's what I'm supposed to say. So, tell people what they want to hear.
Like, realistically, do hit the Cash App if you actually like our channel, because this momentum is only going to last so long, and then I will get depressed. So, like, you got a week, basically.
No, I mean, I am doing well. So I don't want to, like, give the wrong impression. I mean, I'm doing well relative to the circumstances, but, it's just like, I don't have to be happy about everything that occurs in the world. But I can find people that are more unhappy than myself, and I can poke fun at them. And it's just entertainment. It's all relative or some shit.
Before I genuinely lose it.
At least my dad's not in jail for kicking me off the bed. Enjoy the Silence is one of my favorite Passion Mode songs. Every time I hear it, I think of my first wedding, dancing with my wife. Congratulations. On that, Rojo. I too associate that song with romance for the most part, which is ironic. I think most people do, and it's actually about drugs, right? You're a liberal when you say something is ridiculous. We can't take you seriously. No receipts. And there he goes again. He's the Biden supporter. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I didn't support Biden ever in any way. It's a crucifix from... I'm trying to read this. Crucifix from Christian babies get caught in my teeth. Love it, Dr. Mordecai. I'm trying to share this. Clean with me. Raising funds for Dad's lawyer.
I'm always yours. How did he get in there? Allegedly breaking the restraining.
Who's mad at you, Jill? Voting Biden? What, like this time? I don't think we can conscionably vote for Biden this time. But I mean, whatever. It's like I don't even care anymore. I can't sit here and tell people to vote, third party. It's like it's not really going to make a difference, I guess, right? Isn't that what all the establishment people say? Like, your vote's wasted if you vote for any, yeah. That's what they always say. They've been saying it for years, and as long as everybody continues to believe it, it'll continue to be true, I guess. Nerdy doesn't vote in the U.S. I didn't think so.
Order?
I wasn't going to make assumptions. You know what assumptions do to you and me.
That was put in place by the government and not by me. And I requested for them to drop 3 times.
Wait. What you should have said, what you ought to have said was Nerdy doesn't vote legally in the U.S. because you don't have evidence to the contrary.
I'll buy that shirt from you for the underarm sweat. Get Lauren to represent him. My client is like totally innocent. You guys know that meme that's like, guys, look, this is my lawyer dog, I'm cooked. Do you guys know that meme? You guys know that meme? Guys? You guys know that meme?
And perhaps this. She was talking about that earlier, and then I realized why that was so dumb, because he's supposed to say, and perchance this, right? But he says, and perhaps this, as she repeats it, like, without explaining. But then I realized, it took me like a week to figure that whole fucking shenanigan out.
Yeah, it was the restraining order they put on me.
No, they didn't put a restraining order on you. They put a restraining order on your behalf against Ben. Get that right.
Hey! And I can't contact him. I can't call him. I can't put money in his commissary. I can't do anything. Which really sucks, because I don't see how giving somebody money in their own commissary is contact. And even if it was, I, as the victim, am allowed to contact him. He's just not allowed to respond. Get Nick Ricada to do it. Lauren was in the chat 20 minutes ago, was she? Did not see that. I called some lawyers and they said he could be in there for like 90 days to a year for doing this. And I was like, what? What? Like, honestly, I get that I'm acting like normal, but like, you gotta understand. It's
The thing is, like, because of your status of victimhood, it doesn't actually matter because the state prosecutes, right? Like, they're going to say that you are in some way, they'll say that you are impeding an investigation or, whatever the other thing is, obstruction of justice, right? Any contact that you have with them after the fact, right? Once a criminal case has been established, or a civil case for that matter, right? In this case, it's the state v, right? You're going to be tampering with the evidence of the testimony after the fact. So that's why you are held culpable as well in your victimhood status, because you can effectively thwart the state's case through your actions and by contacting the other party. Sandy, here, hold on, let me do this. Don't mind me, just doing ape business. That's the wrong stream. Is it? Don't mind me, just doing ape business. Hold on. Oh no, that's right. Okay. Sorry, I was slightly confused for a second there. So it's going really fast. Okay, there we go. And so now you can just time Jill out if you like. He's bugging you. Just give him a nice little time out there. I know, it's so liberal. Alright, where were we? Wouldn't want any unnecessary distractions.
I feel good. Wow.
Like, honestly, I get that I'm acting like normal, but like, you gotta understand, it's just kind of like, I haven't processed it, obviously. It's just kind of like, would you stop?
Is she yelling at the washing machine?
She wants the attention.
She's she's yelling at the washing machine for draining.
So, like, obviously, I haven't processed it. Like, it's just like, I'm on autopilot right now. So
I would venture to say you're on autopilot most of the time, miss. You don't really know what's going on, and you're fully processing what, like the fact that like the dude's like fully been abusing you probably most of your natural life. You've been under his care. The guy is a fucking lunatic, right? Clearly, so, a moral monster.
I don't know. All I know
And
is
you're
these
still
fucking police and this
trying to defend him, even at this point. I don't know how else anybody can help you.
fucking justice system is not gonna beat me down because daddy didn't raise no bitch. So that's what we're going off of for now.
See, that's her justification. This is like, well, I'm not going to succumb to the system because daddy taught me better. Oh, fuck. Like, what are you going to do with these fucking people?
I'm sure he would want me to continue being a baddie while he's in prison. I'm sure he would want me to continue making that coin. That noise is because, like, I can show you, but it's...
You realize, like, at this juncture, you can move away from the laundry room. You're not doing, like, there's no reason for you to actually be there. Like, you're just trying to prove that you were in the laundry room for some period of time. It's been, like, over an hour.
It's behind the laundry. It's over there. The way that, like, water is emptied out of this, like, this area is there's, like, a hole in the floor that leads obviously to the sewer or to the drainage, but the hole does not have, like, a seal around it, so you can hear the water coming out of the pipes and into the sewer.
Wow,
so.
that's amazing. It's amazing. You can't, like, hire a plumber or a handyman to come and fix that problem for you. Maybe start a fundraiser for that.
We'll just have to wait for her. She's gassy. Good girl.
Anthropomorphizing your washing machine and feminizing it, by the way. Amazing.
For real? Yeah, for real. It does this whenever it's emptying the laundry.
Yeah, that's what it does. The washing machine, it fills up with water, and then it spins the clothes, and then it drains it out. If you didn't know, that's how it works.
All right. It's not a dryer, retard. This is a washing machine. That's the dryer. It doesn't work.
I love that she just addresses the dumbest fucking comments inside chat.
Oh, it needs the vent cleaned. No, I went inside of it. I cleaned all the vents. I cleaned the back vents. I got like in there with paper towels and cleaned all of the lint out. It still doesn't work. It just gives me an error code. So I have no idea. I can't remember the landlord's name, but he should make an appearance this season. Period. He's actually going to do a walkthrough in 3 days, which is totally not related to me cleaning up. Don't know why he would have to do a walkthrough since I'm displaying it for all to see, but whatever. He sent a letter to me saying that he's going to do a walkthrough on the 24th, so maybe he would let me stream it. I doubt it, but
He doesn't let you stream because he got out of jail.
I'm always yours. Quit playing with a riot. I'm down with a Barbie. It girls. You want to play in a playhouse?
What's going on over here? I copied and pasted the definition of a liberal. Now copy and paste it and present it on your channel so you can continue your fake news, which says Jill doesn't define liberal. Shut up, liberal. Jill hates liberty. Noted. Coffee sounds great. I'm drinking a goat fuel energy drink. That's my go-to. I got 5 of them for 98 cents at the grocery outlet. I was happy with the purchase.
Bobby, bitch, you Bobby. I'm overtired. I slept too late today. I woke up at like 12:30. I told myself I set an alarm for 10 a.m.
Sleeping
Would be
past
wise
10
to-
a.m. Typical teenage girl bullshit. Oh wait.
Stream? In case he acts sketchy. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm not gonna stream him against his.
Knowing me, I'll probably go to sleep around 10 a.m. this morning.
Well, we're not really on
Wake up between 3 and 5 in the afternoon. If I'm
good
lucky.
terms right now, so hopefully we will be soon. But
Wait, so Ben's mad at her as of this stream, and she's trying to, like, hopefully reconciling with him? Oh, poor girl.
please play You Think You the Fart. Bitch, you think you the shit? You're not even the fart.
She is a brat, but she's also a full-grown fucking adult. Which is why, you know, Ben should know better. Like, doesn't matter if it's your kid. If your kid's a fucking full-grown adult, you're gonna be treated like in the same as any other 2 adults in a domestic situation. It doesn't matter.
She's not. She got her gas out. Play the Ralph and Maid cleaning video. Bitch, you don't even have fun. Is last load of dishes that was in the sink. I have to bring it upstairs to put it in the dishwasher. Do you want to do a haul? These are less filthy than the other ones were, but we have some gems.
Oh my god, what
we have
the
some gems.
fuck?
That's from the coffee, like leftovers getting poured there and sitting for 2 weeks. So cute, fetch. Just go put this by the door.
I live with dishes in a bus tub. Do they live in a fucking restaurant?
Okay. So then over here you can't see it, but this is just a huge hamper of dirty clothing. So that just has to be washed. Ooh, this is funky. Let's do this. Nice. She is stuck in shape. What a legend. So put that here. We have our mop bucket from last time I mopped. This is
That's
juicy.
like an
guys.
industrial
You're gonna
mop
like this.
and bucket. Like, did you literally steal that from, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just shit I used to work. Like when I worked at the Holiday Inn, we had shit like that.
Oh my god! She is feeling like she's got some microbiomes going on.
Microbiomes? That's just dirty water.
I don't even know how it's that black, to be honest. That's like a color unknown to man. Whatever.
Out, just take it outside. Oh, where? Oh. Looks like a prison mop, right? It's like in the fucking county jail. She's just like, she's dumping it in the sink inside. Put it outside. Jesus fucking Christ. Bro just says she's annoying. She is. She's hilarious, though. This is a grown adult who can vote in the United States, okay? Like, make no mistake. This person is of voting age. They can drive a vehicle. They are amongst you. A long drive home now. Be safe, Todd. Drive safely. Chill says, I have citations also. The one or two you see in my post are citations, which come from liberals. Oh, I thought you meant like legal citations. Oh, you're okay. My bad. I'll let that go.
We've got rings, ladies and gentlemen. We've got rings. Oh, you know what I'll do? You know what I'll do? I get it. I get the plan. Just fill up this bucket. And then let it soak. That's probably what I did last time, actually. I don't have a brush, though. No.
In a situation like this, you fill it up with, like, fill the whole tub up, like 3/4 of the way full with water, and then you pour in, like, a shit ton of bleach. Just you probably dump, like, a whole bottle of bleach in that motherfucker at this point. Yeah, that would be excessive. Like, give it, like, a 1/4 bottle. You give it a good amount of bleach, and just fill it up with water, and then you let it sit. But you put it outside. Put the shit outside, presumably, hopefully it's sunny. Sun helps facilitate the, But yeah, bleach. You know about cleaning products, Grace.
Well, we'll let that marinate for a second.
No, don't let it marinate in the sink. What the fuck is she talking about? Get it out of your house.
Okay.
See, Daddy didn't raise no fool, but he also did not raise an efficient, hygienic person, right? We seem to be having some discrepancy here.
Give it to science. Grace dyed Ben's red pants and shirt black in the mop bucket. Smell of her jelly rolls. What, these? They smell nice. They smell like powdered roses. Okay. So we're almost done, honestly. We're almost done.
Like, this is the same chick who earlier on was like sniffing her fucking undergarments to assess whether or not they needed to be washed when they've been sitting in a tub in the laundry room for like weeks. Just wash that shit. Just fucking wash it. There's no reason you don't have to do a smell test.
I am afraid you are forbidden from boarding without permission.
But that turned out to be a completely unsuccessful system. It really did just turn into noise.
She's got on the Trump
my ear.
shirt.
It was ineffective because I wanted
she's a MAGA
my
girl.
comfort videos in that situation. That was their purpose. That's what they were there for. So I realized that I really need my full attention committed to videos. So I created something I like to call Discovery Hour. And this is an hour immediately after I've woken up and taken care of myself, where I watch some of these videos for up to an hour in the mornings, and I can really focus on them.
Horny
And
back. Yes, dog.
It's very important that it is early in the morning, not like early in the morning, but in the morning. I don't wake up super early, but I notice that I am just so much more receptive to information in the morning. I want to engage with it. I think it's because I like
I'm
to
the
know
opposite
that
way.
I'm getting
See,
it.
like in the morning, I don't want to hear about shit. Honestly, like You know, like give me caffeine, or like I don't want to hear a fucking thing when I wake up in the morning. It takes me like a good hour or two to be receptive to any incoming information.
I just spend this time in the morning, and then the rest of the day I can just enjoy other videos. I also have this kind of specific system with Discovery Hour where I'll watch the video once all the way through undisturbed, and then I'll watch it again but take notes the second time. Recently I've been making my way through the videos on the Oversimplified channel, which animates events in history in a very oversimplified and easily digestible way, and that's why it's so good for me. So that's Discovery Hour. I've also been trying to read more books. This might not come as a huge surprise to you, but I have not been the biggest reader. I am exactly the person you might have heard describing reading the same paragraph over and over again because it's just not applying. I would just become completely absent from the text in front of me, and reading became this really frustrating and unsatisfying thing to do. But the last year I've been trying so hard, really actively trying to read more books, and honestly it's getting a lot easier, and I think I'm getting better at it. Right now I am reading non-fiction.
Yeah, I think I heard I've heard a number of people say this, but making reading a daily practice, like, and not forcing yourself to read excessively, but doing a little bit of reading throughout your day, so you get through like a chapter in a book per day, right? Rather than trying to say, oh, I'll finish this book by the end of the week, right? Depending on the length of it, that could be like pretty weighty, right? So rather than just saying, oh, I'll devote myself to like a chapter per day, and then you'd even like expound upon that, be like, oh, I want to read like 2 different books, and so I will read X amount of pages from this book and X amount of pages from this book, right? And again, make it a daily habit or whatever. Like, that's really the way that you want to go about that.
Because I'm wanting to use it as a tool for learning. And I'm also reading a lot more since I moved to London and I started studying, because I've got like a hour plus commute. So I usually always read a book on the train. I noticed that a book is a very enjoyable supplement for a phone because it still meets this like physiological compulsion to hold something in my hand and look at it, you know? But instead of consuming an infinite feed of memes and brain rot and trolls and women that are more beautiful and have bigger boobs than me, is in place of that.
I like that she laughed at that, because not all men are merely attracted to bigger boobs, right? Like, and that's a common misconception. And it's like, oh, if they have bigger tits, they're automatically... No, like, sometimes that could be a turnoff. Like, especially if they get boob jobs, they have, like, tits that are, like, disproportionately large compared to the rest of their body. Like, you can tell, and it looks fucking weird, right? Like, and most dudes, I don't think, are attracted by that. Not generally.
Analog media.
Or if they are, they're only attracted to it superficially.
And paper smells nice. This is also why I have been investing in buying physical copies of books, even though it can be expensive, but I also wanted to use books to get away from my phone. Now I want to show you some of the things I've been reading. And first I want to tell you how and why I bought these books, because I did not know where to start. I've got...
One part of my body is disproportionate compared to the rest. Read Obama's books. He was telling you idiots what he had planned for America. Okay, I'll do that.
Entire folders saved on TikTok of book recommendations.
Talk says ass over
book
tits.
reviews.
See, I don't... It's weird if they have a big ass and small tits, and it's weird if they have small tits and small ass and big tits, right? Like, each one's got, like, you can see, like, when they've got something done, right? That's the other thing. Like, if there is, like, any implants, surgery involved, or injections or something, like, it's usually pretty noticeable. Like, there's good jobs that aren't so noticeable, but, like, a lot of them are very noticeable, and it's just, it makes you look awkward, proportionally. I've got some disproportionately large parts, you know, I'm not gonna, toot my own horn or anything, but, you know, it's like, there's no enhancements, right? Like, I don't need to get injections anywhere. Hold on, I'll return to that thought.
And I was very anxious about choosing the right thing to read because I knew it was going to take me a very long time to read one book. So I felt a lot of pressure to make good choices. And I've been thinking about this, and I think people like me and my generation have maybe forgotten that there are physical stores you can go to where you can browse a limited selection of items. I think because we've enjoyed the inexhaustible resources of the internet, we feel like it's the only place we can.
So I think when people overdo it, right? Like anytime you're talking about like a plastic surgery or Botox injection or something like that, everybody always thinks bigger is better. So you get the biggest, like it's very rare that you get like a subtle boob job, right? Like those could be good, right? But when they go straight for the double D's and it doesn't fit them, you can see it. You can see it right off the bat, and years later, it backfires, right? It gets really bad. I'm not saying you can do that with your body if you want to. I'm saying if you're doing that for the sake of attracting somebody of the opposite sex, right? And you get this thing that looks like a fucking appendage, right? It doesn't look like it belongs on you. Like, right? Other people might find that interesting. They might, like I said, it might be like a fetish, but they're not going to be genuinely attracted to it in the sense that I'm talking about, where like just genuinely attracted to a person's natural features. I would rather see your natural features and imperfections than, the failed attempts to make yourself up to a certain aesthetic standard that you believe that other people expect of you, right? Because that expectation really is actually a misconception, right? Like how this girl said, oh, well, if, a woman who's more attractive and has bigger boobs, is if those two things go hand in hand, right? It's not necessarily a matter of, right? Larger breasts will not make you more attractive, right? Inherently. Like you could be a horrible, hideous looking person with ginormous titties, right? That's not a fix-all. Good morning, or Wooly, good to see you. Oh, good morning, Richard. Peace and respect to you.
Go to for suggestions, but what I found in my local Waterstones, which is a big bookstore chain in the UK, is that they have little notes and annotations.
Obama's not even running, dude. Get over it. Jill, just get over it. Obama's not running. I didn't vote for Biden. Sent an unprecedented $1.7 billion in actual cash to Iran. Is that true? I don't know.
Some of the things you're seeing.
You're talking about shit that happened almost... dude.
And I assume it's written by the staff. Maybe it all comes from like the top and it's not personal at all. I don't know how it works. And in the genre-specific areas of the store, they've selected and separated particular books that they consider to be some of the best in that genre. So I went straight to those featured book tables, and I just looked at what was there and what I felt I wanted to learn about. And I would spend some time looking at the book and reading the blurb and reading a few pages because I wanted to assess if it was going to be accessible for me. Or
what kills me is like 24 hours ago, and I know you're arguing with everybody in the side chat right now, but 24 hours ago, you and I had this same fucking conversation about Biden going round and round for like the better part of 2 hours, where I was like, dude, I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for Biden. And you keep like pressing this fucking argument. Like, we can set up a one-to-one and talk about politics, but don't fucking straw man me here, Like, you can have that argument in the side chat, But I'm not going to let you get away with that if we're face to face. It's not going to happen. I'm going to sit here and try to fucking play this game. That's what, at least, like, come at me for an argument that I've actually made. Because you didn't do that yesterday. Alright. I'm gonna have to do like a whole video on this. We'll just finish this and we'll go back to the meat of it, because I think they're about to move away from the main topic of this anyway. Maybe we'll get to the lighthearted part.
What do you expect the outcome to be? So when they're adults, we're going to start complaining that they didn't get the jobs and start putting them. But it's absurd, right? All right. Where do you fall on the TikTok issue? I'm going to wrap it up. I got two more quick issues.
Yeah, well, I've never. The truth is, I've never experienced TikTok directly. I mean, I guess I've seen TikTok videos exported to YouTube, but I've never had the app.
Prior to this, the whole build up to this is basically a bunch of back and forth on the Israel-Palestine conflict and present circumstances and everything. This is from like a month ago, but this is the video that Pocket Locker and the Minority Report over there were reviewing. So this is where those clips were fished from, and so I went back and I watched it in its entirety. This is the end portion where we're talking about other topics. So, but I will go back and review the former portion of this video later
on my phone. Rumor has it that the algorithm is amazingly effective and addictive, and
it is. My kids
certainly, it's almost certainly being gamed by the CCP so as to derange us. I mean, again, this is just, I've just consumed these rumors from somewhere, but apparently in China, TikTok will just spread one engineering video or otherwise educational video after the other to its population, and in the U.S. you're basically getting brain damage. We were entertaining ourselves to death, and then you get a little fondness for Hamas thrown in there along with the dance videos. I mean, I just think I view it as I think the notion of reciprocity kind of cuts through the morass here. The fact that we can't market similar products in China should resolve it. It's like, we shouldn't let China sell anything to us that they won't let us sell to them on some level. And I think that could be a way to just.
That's actually somewhat valid. So I was also talking to Q about that last night. And Q was saying that they got more views on TikTok, like per video, right? Like per video, more views than like on average, like overall on YouTube. Right? Like in a much shorter span of time. So, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I think people are gearing toward shorter content. Even on YouTube, I just see more and more shorts popping up, and those are the recommended videos, right? Like, just it's catering and it's geared towards people with short attention spans.
Like Trump.
Yeah, I like to think that that's my demographic audience. Aside from the 100% 35 to 44-year-old white males, they also have attention deficit disorder.
We have to deal with China in some way, and we have Trump has not been wrong altogether about China. I mean, China has made it a habit to enshrine certain unjustifiable asymmetries between our societies. I mean, they steal our intellectual property. Just it seems to be there for the taking, and they pirate everything that they
steal our intellectual property.
Want. I don't know why.
Maybe Sam Harris really is racist.
Tolerated that, but it's a. I mean, the thing that. I mean, this actually has implications for our relationship to Islam as well. There are many places that have. There are many societies that have survived based on certain happy accidents. I mean, for instance, there's so many Muslim states that are wealthy simply because they've been able to pull their wealth out of the ground, right? I mean, they're kind of the oil curse, right? They have not had to be.
There's actually a good film about that I saw a few years ago, where I can't remember what country it is, right? But essentially, it's like turn of the century, not this clearly, like the last century, And there's I can't remember what his status was. He was like a prince or something, right? Like, but one of these guys, I think Saudi Arabia or something like that, where they're weighing the moral implications of allowing Westerners to come and drill, and they're totally impoverished, right? Like they're going under, and obviously based on true events, where they're like, okay, do we let these white dudes come in and drill, on our land, right, which is like sacred to us because we can turn a profit off of it? Can we justify this religiously, right? And then they do, obviously, but it's a huge moral conflict that happens to where they're like, oh well, our people are starving, like, so what are our options here? Well, yeah, we've got to let foreign interests come in and sell them this stuff for a huge profit, right? And it's a turning point for them economically on the world stage.
Responsive to their populations demographically, and most importantly, they haven't had to produce anything of value that the rest of the world wants and will pay for. They don't have any intellectual property apart from a single book, cobbled together in the 7th century. And that they haven't been forced to experience how untenable all that is at this moment in history, right? Because they, again, in the case of the Gulf states, they've been able to pull money out of the ground. In the case of China, it's been we thought we were going to nudge it toward democracy by simply playing nice with it.
Let's go chase the coyote. One. Being slow and making toasted stuff. Sounds good.
Economically for so many decades, and then helping to lift it out of poverty, which obviously we did. And in that sense, it's a success story, but it's not a success story.
Yeah, I'll be out of here soon. Kind of wanted to round off the morning. That last one ended pretty abruptly. I just had to pull out. So I was like, okay, shift the gears.
Moderate, the way we expected. So yeah, the fact that they offer cheap labor and pirate everything else is, that ultimately is going to be an untenable strategy too going forward, right? We're going to onshore a lot of what COVID taught us that we want to onshore more than we had.
I did like there's a line. I was watching Jay Bundy's stream yesterday, and he's doing a review on some fitness guru who's reviewing The Rock, and apparently The Rock got caught lying about a multitude of things, like, so he's been juicing, he's been lying about his diet and stuff like that, so they're like critiquing him on that. But it was funny because when they were talking about it, at some point he said, and I thought this was great, you gotta go check it out, he's the type of dude who would pull out just to finish on himself. I was like, oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm gonna keep that.
Labor's probably gonna, if it's not currently cheaper, it might be ultimately cheaper in Mexico or elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, unless China can produce stuff that the world really wants, based on their own creativity, they will, things won't be as good for them going forward. So I just think the incentives are such. If you again, barring the unhappy or happy accidents, like certain countries just sitting on top of vast oil wealth for a time, we need to live in a world where all of our incentives are aligned. And
those really countries also are not using the oil, right? That's the part that they miss. Like, for the most part, those countries are not they're not utilizing, the automobile industry and public transportation in the way that we are, right? They devote those resources directly to military force. Everything else, those countries, that's why the Middle East is looked at as underdeveloped, right? They could buy armaments, they can buy bombs, right? But they don't have roads, right? They don't have infrastructure, right? Because they're not making those investments, which is why they sit on a surplus of natural resources.
rewarded to the degree that you play well with others and produce value in their lives. And where that breaks down, and where people are able to game the system differently, I think well-intentioned people need to become more alert to those systems of bad incentives and figure out how to correct for them, right? We should be slow to reward obvious bad actors simply because it may be pragmatic in the near term to do that, right? And we've obviously played a very dangerous and at times very cynical game, like collaborating with people who are clearly bad on the world stage, but because we thought it was a necessity, we did that.
People who are clearly objectively bad. Wrong.
I agree with everything you said. I'm so reflexively First Amendment and anti, regulating what a private company does. But I have to admit, it scares the shit out of me that there's this pipeline from China into my daughter's brain, especially now at a time when there's a kind of psychological war against a fragile Jewish psyche for a child like my daughter. I have no real way of knowing, she's 12, how she's interpreting it, how the peer pressure of it all affects her. And to know that...
Oh, so now I get... So this guy's Jewish, too. So it threw me off, because I was like, this channel's called Comedy Cellar USA, right? But he does this, what's it called? At the Table, something like that. Live from the Table, right? And so aside from, like, posting a bunch of comedy videos that he does, he's also doing, like, these serious, like, interviews with the Live at the Table thing, right? But apparently it's a Jewish, because I was like, why are they doing this whole like Israel bit? Because they're both Jewish, right? Which is fine. Like I'm not knocking them for being Jewish. It all makes sense now because he didn't talk about the host his own background before now. So now that he brings that up, he's like, oh, my daughter's Jewish, So that clearly that means you have some stake in the whole thing. So that makes sense now. So I was like, this interview is not very funny. I don't know why it's a blue sweater guy has a green screen bookshelf. I actually wrote that down when I was watching this. I wrote, what did I? It's in my notes here. Hold on. I wrote. It's not the first time I've done this, but I just had to. Every time I see it, I'm like. Oh yeah, you look smarter with a shelf full of books behind you. Yeah. I just have to keep just keep reminding myself of that. So I think my solution, sorry, I meant to hit play on the video, but it wasn't working out. I spilled my goat fuel energy drink, which is a pink. Anyway, so I was thinking about taking like like go to the library and get like, a shot from like the children's section or fantasy or something like that. You know what I mean? Like just some really bizarre array of books. And then I can somehow make it my background, yeah, it was a silly idea, but it would be good.
Blind to her brain, and they're using it for geostrategic reasons. Is not okay with me. I don't know. Just the fact that it's aimed at children, we usually allow much more regulation, much more heavy-handedness when it comes.
So this is tantamount to what some POS YouTubers do, or what is called swatting. I must have missed. Oh. He's talking about something I'm not even following, so it's not going to bother.
Protecting children as opposed to adults. And this squarely is aimed at children, which is, I think, enough of a rationale to at least overcome a lot of the First Amendment things. All right, can I get time for one more?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Hallucinogenics. I heard you speak about hallucinogenics, and you had me tempted to try hallucinogenics. I never tried them. But there are two things. My father, who was a very perceptive guy, was, in his 30s during the 60s, had said to me once when I was young, anybody he ever knew who took LSD, in some way he felt they changed. In some way. Not necessarily for the worse, but just changed.
I should hope so. Right. Yeah.
Well, permanently. And then I saw a study just a couple weeks ago going around Twitter. I don't know if it's reliable or not. You would know that there's some evidence of.
Well, that's
of
the thing
actual-
about hallucinogenics. Good trip or bad, like across the board, I'd say like it's not like any other drug trip, because other people who use other drugs would be like, yeah, it was an experience. But when you take psychedelics, right, you never forget that experience. That is why it changes you, right? It changes the way you process information, right? You always view things post that experience, and every additional experience, like it's not just the first time. Every time you take hallucinogenics, you're going to have some kind of profound experience that alters your perception of the world, and it will stick with you permanently. It's not like, you could have a bunch of drinking episodes and, you kind of have some consistency there, right? You can black out and forget, like, large swaths of information, right? The hallucinogenics and psychedelics, they don't work that way. That shit gets ingrained in your brain, and it fundamentally alters your perception of things.
Plasticity going on, that after certain hallucinogenic drugs, the brain actually stays different in some way.
It's not that the brain stays different. See, I don't think it changes your neurochemistry, right? It doesn't do that. But it does alter your perceptions moving forward every time you will relate to that experience.
And all this scares the shit out of me, and I'm wondering, in a weird way, like the VAERS database, Tucker Carlson, God forbid to compare to Tucker Carlson, was telling people to make decisions based on self-reporting of people taking drugs, whether or not your personal positive experience with these things is enough.
Well, clearly Tucker Carlson is a moron, so.
Go on. In trying them.
Well, I don't think my experience is necessarily enough. There is a fair amount of research at this point that suggests that in controlled and benign conditions, there's a lot of promise with
that was another thing that was pointed out to me about Jim Bob. I heard somebody say that on a stream, and I hadn't really made the correlation, but he does. There's a tactic that Tucker Carlson will use, and Jim Bob does the same thing, where just before he goes on the attack, if he thinks, essentially he's going to try to say that you've said or, may have taken a position that is profoundly stupid, but in the initial stages, right before he reacts, the look on his face will be like disbelief and confusion, and Tucker Carlson always does the same thing, and it almost seems like a showpiece, but the thing that was pointed out to me was that probably that he is actually legitimately confused by whatever is being stated, and so he has to deflect from it. Like, he can't acknowledge it. Like, so this is what they do. They get confused. You see the look of bewilderment on their face in the moment before, and then they deflect, and the tactic is just snap back, right? Rather than try to clarify a point. I just thought that was an interesting aside note.
Drugs, in the normal case. I mean, there are people who I think shouldn't take psychedelics, and there are certainly conditions in which I don't think anyone should take
Your
psychedelics.
own personal Jesus, someone who hears your praise, someone who cares. Reach out and touch face.
For the novice psychonaut, I think I would recommend MDMA, which is not technically a psychedelic, before I would recommend psilocybin or LSD to anyone. I think the prospect of having a truly bad experience, a destabilizing experience, an experience you regret having had on MDMA.
Holy shit, it's about that time. 5 o'clock in the a.m. and the sun is rising. Thanks to everybody in the side chat, including and not limited to Sandy, Nerdy Rodent, Rebuke and Reprove, Richard Matson, this one guy, Brojo, and everybody who was in the last stream. Much love to everybody. Doubting Thomas. Sorry I missed you earlier. It's been fun. It's been great. It's been swell. No complaints and no regrets. I think I saw a silver wolf here earlier too. So yeah, I mean, again, just get some good rest. Atheistic towards Richard's God, but he could not deny it. It's always a good position to be in. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something and I forgot about it. It probably wasn't that important, but mainly it was that I wish y'all a very, very wonderful Thursday morning, and I will be back. Well, at some point later on in the day, if not, later on in the evening or whenever that happens. But in the meantime, I hope everybody has a lovely day. And like I say at the end of every stream, because I always say the same thing at the end of every stream, much love, be well, be kind, and stay trusty. We'll see you on the flip side.